I'm Eddie Brophy.
I'm Jason Smith.
WrestleMania 15.
Yep.
Now, I've discussed before the booking of these Manias, but obviously we want to highlight some of the better matches. Rock and Austin, it's not the best Rock and Austin match I've seen, but it was cool because we got the payoff from the big storyline with Austin and McMahon and the corporation. And of course, Undertaker, it wasn't Undertaker's best. I mean, at Mania, it's sink or swim with him. Now, introducing the Hell in a Cell was a great element. It just didn't really pay off for me. And of course, I'm skipping ahead here, but notable matches, obviously, Rock and Austin, as we said. I felt like that could have been better if it had been a triple threat with Mick Foley, but he was the semi-guest referee. Shane McMahon and X-Pac was a big one for me, being a huge X-Pac fan. But before I drone on and on, Jason, do you have some stats?
Sure. March 28th, 1999. First Union Center in Philadelphia. 76, was indoor attendance.
I mean, again, we're going to go ebbs and flows with the attendance numbers. I mean, that's a pretty decent amount. I mean, it's not as high as other ones we'll probably hear, but for you, I mean, again, I could go on and on about what worked, what didn't work. I mean, I thought the hardcore match could have been a little better. It's again, WrestleManias can suffer when they're a little too gimmicky. You had a 4-way Intercontinental title match, which the superstars, I liked the superstars they picked. I didn't feel like it could have been a better match. Yeah. I mean, were there highlights or anything that really jump out to you as a fan for this particular?
Highlights, I'd say the Kane and Triple H feud that culminated with China turning on Kane, and then later in the night, Triple H and China turning on.
Well, I like that because that was the eventual, demise of Degeneration X, which at the time, if you were a fan, that was a big deal. Oh, yeah. Again, I thought it was cool in terms of storylines, how the corporate payoff worked out with Austin, getting the belt and the look on McMahon's face. I just kind of felt like by this point, the feud between The Rock and Mick Foley, Mankind rather, was such a big deal that I don't want to say it outshined Austin McMahon, but you had these two big feuds going on.
Oh, yeah.
I kind of felt like it would have worked, and maybe it would have been too busy, maybe those of you that disagree, if Mankind or Mick Foley could have gotten into the main event. Again, if he walked in, he didn't have to necessarily walk in as champion, but he also didn't have to walk out as champion. But his presence in the ring, I kind of felt like he was cheated a bit out of that.
I can agree with that.
I mean, in terms of booking it, was there anything you would have done?
I think it has to be the obvious one of the Hell in the Cell match with Undertaker. I think putting Big Boss Man in there, while he's a great veteran, I think he was the wrong choice at that time. Who I would have substituted, I would have kept the Hell in the Cell. Who I would have substituted and would have made sense in the storyline at that time would be Ken Shamrock.
I was actually just going to say, I would have taken, maybe I would have, if Ken Shamrock was booked in that match, maybe I would have kept the Hell in a Cell, and there could have been, because Ken Shamrock had the intensity, and I mean, they did eventually have their match at the following pay-per-view at Backlash, and it was a phenomenal match with a great ending. I feel like, if you could have, taken that,
Because then you could play up the whole, I've been in a cage, I grew up in a cage, UFC kind of element that Ken Shamrock had. And then Undertaker showing the destruction he's had. I think that would have been a cool build-up.
Well, again, then you could have had Undertaker in his first Lions Den match.
Yep. Well, that would have sucked.
I would have gotten a little cramped in there, but. So, at MO Commentary on Twitter, what are your thoughts, opinions, views? Were you in attendance? Obviously, we're in our late 20s. Looking back on it now, for a lot of people that got into the Attitude, this was their first. While 14 was a big deal to us, obviously we're from Boston, but 15 for a lot of Attitude fans going forward, this was kind of Austin winning the title for the second time at his second WrestleMania was kind of what pushed them into the Attitude Era universe. So, I mean, any memories you have, would you have booked anything differently? We say Ken Shamrock against Undertaker. I mean, do you have a different outlook on that? And of course, I do want to mention, because Jason did show me this, the still, the infamous Bossman hanging from the noose in the Hell in a Cell was included in the WWE Network.
It was included, but if you want to own it on the DVD, you'll have to go get the original 1999 DVD release to own that piece of footage.
I paid $40 for that on VHS. I feel a little bit ashamed about that. But again, that's how intense we were back then for wrestling, and that's what made us marks after all. So again, your thoughts, opinions, views, how you booked it differently. If you want to shoot your own video and send it to us, and we think you got some good opinions or you got some great thoughts, we can include it on our Marks on Commentary YouTube page or even on the website, marksoncommentary.com. In the meantime, I'm Eddie Brophy.
I'm Jason Smith.
We are Marks on Mania, and we are going forward with WrestleMania 16.